For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome, everybody, to another Live and Amplified Livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. Sorry, I got a little hype there. I just saw my levels, and I was peaking quite a bit. So if I distorted or blew out your eardrums, I 100% apologize. But want to thank you all for joining us. We got an amazing podcast lined up for you. We got Briannah Grace all the way from Brisbane, Australia, joining us. It's absolutely exciting, and like we were talking a little bit before we jumped on here, I didn't realize that you were on Twitch, and Twitch is a new community that we've just started working on or broadcasting on within the last 3 to 4 months or so. So this has been a fun, exciting opportunity, and you know, the community here has been absolutely great. So I'm excited to have you on and chat with you and talk about the new single that just dropped. It's been a couple of weeks at this point.
I think it's been just over a month, actually, which is pretty crazy to say. Time really does fly when you're having fun, as they say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's been about a month.
Okay, cool. So I'm really excited to talk about that and just get to know more about you and your music, and you know, just add another friend from Australia. So next time, or when we come out there for the first time, it's like we've got all these musicians that we got to meet and work with and do other things with. So just adding another person to that list. So
just definitely do a meetup of some sort. That'd be pretty incredible. Yeah,
it would. Like I was telling my sound engineer that helps me out with like a lot of this stuff, and he was one of the founding members of Live and Amplified when we first got started. It's like, dude, whenever we go over to Australia, this isn't going to be a week trip. It's going to be at least a month. Like, that's the only way it's going to work. So he, of course, was like, yeah, I realize that, but yeah. So
not yet.
Yeah, for sure. Not yet. Not quite yet. Yeah. But once again, thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. The way the podcast kind of works here on Twitch is I'll sit here and chat with Briannah a bit. And if you guys have any questions or comments that you'd like to make, feel free to throw them in the chat. I will do my best to field any questions and ask Briannah as we kind of move forward. But for anybody that's just kind of getting to meet you for the first time, what's kind of your background story, Briannah?
I'm firstly a musician. Hello, Infinite. Firstly, a musician. I started playing when I was 15. I started in a duo with my sister, and we've been doing music full time since then, pretty much. We even homeschooled to be able to pursue music, which was pretty incredible. And then the pandemic hit, and everyone's life changed. And with my job is traveling and you know, playing and performing, and so actually found the Lyrical on Twitch and thought, wow, this is a pretty incredible platform. But I didn't realize quite so much until I started streaming myself, I think, because the community is just like nothing else here. Yeah. So yeah, I've been streaming since I think beginning of last year-ish.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
There's definitely been an influx of musicians streaming since the beginning of the pandemic. You know, I definitely ran into a few that have been streaming for a while now, like 3, 4, some of them 5 years, but
wow,
most of them been doing this for like within the last 2 years, pretty much the beginning of the pandemic, which that transition had to kind of happen naturally if you want to keep playing music. So before you started streaming, though, what got you or like who introduced you to music just in general?
It was completely by accident. I started singing as a form of physical therapy. I have reduced lung function, and singing was a part of my routine for health reasons. And now speaking to a lot of people, it's really come full circle of how healing music is, and everyone can relate to music and just feel something, whether it's you want to feel sad through a song, or you want to get up and dance. And yeah, so I fell in love with music then, and it kind of spiraled from there. Started doing little open mics, and then got offered gigs from there, and then got the amazing opportunity to perform at festivals, and then travel and go to Japan, and it kind of snowballed on from there.
Yeah. So you brought up or mentioned that like originally it was very much for your own health, because you said you had reduced lung capacity or lung function. Yeah. So I was born with my throat connected to my lungs, and I had a major life-saving surgery after birth, which I've had a few of them growing up, and I wasn't a very healthy child, that's for sure, and I wasn't able to play sports like the other kids. I lived on the coast near the beach, and I couldn't go to the beach like everyone else, and I couldn't do those things, and music was definitely my escape. And I wasn't even singing much at that stage. I wasn't very good. I listened to voice memos of myself. I'm like, it's not natural. Yeah.
Anyone who says it's natural doesn't understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, music really helped me through rough parts. And whether the pandemic or not, it's always there for you. So
Gotcha. So at that time, were you just doing more like scales and stuff, just kind of going through the practice of singing, or were you actually like singing cover songs or writing your own music? What was kind of yeah.
I was actually not doing scales or anything. I've had a few lessons a couple of years later when I was performing, just like learning breathing techniques and things like that. But no, not professionally at all at that stage, just singing along to songs that I loved. And I joined the school band, and I started playing the saxophone, which I absolutely adore, but I haven't touched in years, and I really want to. I should. It's such a beautiful instrument. So I started playing that for my lungs as well. But it wasn't a very popular instrument, so I switched to singing more. Yeah.
Okay.
Most people don't really play, so I wanted to be able to connect with other people more, and so started to start singing.
That's interesting, because as a young child, I always thought the saxophone was so cool. Like at least when we were in like fourth and fifth grade, like the saxophone players were always the coolest people, as we were doing like beginner band, like school band and stuff of that nature. And then as we grow older into high school and get older and the bands get more advanced, like orchestra and stuff like that, then you start getting into the alto sax and the different kind of saxophones that there are. But like that original, just straight up saxophone, I always thought that was so cool.
It's funny you say that, because here, like I was one of the only girls at the time. Well, actually, I think I was that played the saxophone, because all the other girls played the flute, the angelic instrument. And I was like, I want to play the saxophone because that is a sexy instrument. And I was definitely one of the only girls. It was very strange at my school.
The Lyrical brought up made a good point that Lisa Simpson made the saxophone cool.
Yes, 100%. Oh my gosh, that's such a good point.
Yeah, I don't. Now I'm trying to remember if it was on one of your Facebook posts or just Facebook in general. I saw somebody post the cover art to Bleeding Gums Murphy's Sax on the Beach. I don't remember where that was. Just talking about The Simpsons and the saxophone. So
yeah, I love it. Yeah, I need to pick it up again.
Do you still have your saxophone from back then, or did you get rid of it?
No, I do. It's up in my cupboard.
Okay.
I do. I definitely need some new reeds for it though.
Yeah. If it's been a few years, I'm sure they're not in the best shape. So
maybe a fresh one.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of going through, at what point did you kind of start exploring writing your own music? Or was that much later in your?
It was probably a lot later. As I said, singing kind of came first, and performing actually, I learned 2 songs and hopped up on stage, and then just started performing from there before I was ever writing or doing any of that.
Do you remember what 2 songs you learned?
I think one of the first ones was a Shepherd's song, Let Me Down Easy, actually. Because I started with the ASCM, the Australian Institute of Country Music, again, all by chance. And my sister was playing guitar there, and the teacher literally handed me a bass guitar and went on holidays for 2 weeks and said, "You're going to learn this while I'm away." And then he got back and he said, "Okay, and you're going to play bass and you're going to harmonize as well.
Oh, wow.
And you're going to join a band and you're going to perform at main stage at the Gympie Buster and the Talent Search." And so, yeah, it kind of spiraled from there. And, that sink or swim kind of moment where like, okay, so I picked my boots up and practiced so much. But yeah, I realized what an incredible opportunity that was. And we just started playing gigs and playing shows from there. And then we started writing, like, both individually and with other people. And yeah, we started releasing music from there.
That's awesome.
But performing definitely came first.
Yeah, for sure. And so then you started exploring your own music. What were you releasing music as a solo act, or were you doing like more of a group thing? What's kind of the hit once you got into writing your own music?
Yeah, I mean, I always did write my own songs, but I never did anything with them particularly, because that band that I was in took off actually, and it became full time for years until COVID really. The world stopped, and I had the time and the energy to actually release my own solo work. So only since COVID. Gotcha. I've done my own stuff.
Okay, that actually quite explains a lot, because I was going through your Spotify and I was like, it was for me, it was really hard to believe that you'd only released a single, or as far as like what I could find on your Spotify. And now that you're kind of explaining that all to me, it makes a lot of sense. So you were in a band prior to?
Yeah, I was in a duo.
Okay.
We were called the Dennis Sisters, and then we were called Ohalo. And we played a lot of shows together and wrote so many songs and released debut EP, and we won a QMA award, which is privilege, definitely. We really focused our energy on that. We're sisters and we love singing together, and it was pretty special.
Awesome. And then you just stopped playing because of COVID, or that was definitely stopped playing. And she ended up moving away as well, because affording to live became a thing. Paying rent, and I was really lucky though. Twitch actually paid my rent during COVID. It was I'm so grateful, because as I said, not gigging and playing is where we make our money as musicians. And being able to not only put food on the table, but also I wasn't picking up my guitar until I was streaming with COVID, because there wasn't a reason to, and they definitely spurred me on to release my own original music more than they harassed me. I love it. Yeah,
there's definitely the squeaky door, and so they're definitely a big part of why I'm doing what I'm doing as well.
So for anybody that isn't in Australia and aren't familiar with the Queensland Music Awards, what is that?
It's an award Queensland wide, given to a select number of artists, and we won a country song of the year for that.
Okay.
We got dressed up and all glam, and it was definitely a dream that we worked towards for, I think it was like nearly 7 years. So we were blown away.
They give an award to different genres, like bands in different genres, or?
Yeah, but there was only one for each. So Queensland wide. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like the MTV Music Awards, where it's like best country act, whatever it is. And,
Yeah. I know we were definitely cross genre though. We were country pop folk. We like to even now I'm definitely a multi-genre artist. I get bored of the same thing and I want to be able to explore my sound.
I think you're going to see very soon within the next, I don't want to put a date on it, but I think within our lifetime, you're going to start seeing music, like the typical genres start to fall away because so many musicians are coming out that are inspired by so many different types of genres that maybe they stick in a genre, but they go from genre to genre. Maybe they're not blending genres as much, but like you release a country album, then you say, no, I feel like a progressive rock album this year. And you really, just something like that. So I think we're going to kind of see artists being known for specific genres kind of start going away.
100%. Like even looking at Taylor Swift, like she started off in country and she's gone pop and then like even edgy for a while there. And
yeah.
I think it's natural though for an artist to change their sound over time as you grow, or even album to album, through stages of life you go through different things.
Yeah,
and sure. I think especially artists who songwrite really reflect that.
For sure. As you're kind of starting to go through this process of being a solo artist and kind of develop who you are, what you want your sound to be, what you want your voice to be, stuff of that nature, what's something that you took away from your experience in a band that you're kind of applying to your new journey as a solo artist?
I think learning to work with others is a big part. Like the industry is huge. As a performer, the first thing you quickly realize early on is it takes a team to make things happen. And I think it was really valuable to learn to work with others super early on, to learn, those skills of performing on stages as well together. Learning how to use a mic properly and things like that really, really prepared me for my work now.
For sure. And when you, what was the name of the band again that you were in? What was the name of it?
Ohalo.
Ohalo. Okay. So you were in Ohalo. Were you touring just around, or were you playing just around Australia, or were you going like outside the country? And
yeah, we mainly played in Australia, but we did a little couple months tour in Japan as well. We had a residency over there.
Oh, wow.
But those are the main places, which we had a lot of fun.
Gotcha. That's really cool. And then obviously the pandemic hits and does what it's going to do and forces you inside to start, isolating, I guess is the word I want to use. What, as the pandemic hit, did you just automatically start trying to figure out how to do your own music, or was there like a transition period?
I kind of started wanting to, but I think I explored other creative things first, to be honest. Like Photoshop and photography and things like that. I was also playing the bass for years, so I picked up the guitar and only started learning that really last year. That's been a lot of fun. And going back to my songwriting as well, I really wanted to do that, and even pulled out some of my own songs that I kind of threw in the bin, if you will say. A bit harsh on myself. I think all songwriters are though. I started doing that first, and even wrote with the Lyrical and a few other artists as well. And I realized I didn't want them just sitting there either and doing nothing. I wanted to share them with the world.
Gotcha. And as the pandemic goes on, where does Twitch kind of come into play? Was that something that came in pretty quickly, or did it take you a little bit to at least discover? I know you mentioned that you'd only been streaming for about a year, but was there time before that you started exploring Twitch, or?
Yeah, I was a lurker as they call it, for quite a while. Just sitting in the community and interacting, and I was loving it. I was certainly a fan of Twitch before I ever started streaming, and there's so much to it as well. Learning the software and the programs and all that, and the community of Twitch. It's quite special and unique, and I really wanted to get my head around Twitch as a whole before I started streaming.
Yeah.
So I definitely lurked in a lot of people's channels.
Nice. That's awesome.
And made lots of friends before I ever started streaming.
Yeah. It is kind of interesting going into these new channels and trying to work your way into these communities. It's remember the first couple of times it was like, oh, hey, you're here, that's cool. And it took a little bit for people to warm up. And then as you kind of show up more, it's like, oh, hey, okay, yeah, he's cool, and then you kind of just naturally work your way into the community. Because there's definitely been some times where I've been in a room where it's like, who are you? What are you doing here? That sort of vibe. It's like, I mean, no harm. I'm just here hanging out. So it's definitely interesting. So then you kind of watched and learned how to Twitch and do the Twitch thing kind of properly. At what point did you, well, let's kind of fast forward a little bit to the new single that dropped it back in May. Yeah, back in May. That would be a month ago. It's been such a hectic year already. It's like, I can't believe it's almost July. So, hit
the nail on the head right there.
Yeah. I was at work this morning and I was telling one of my coworkers, I was like, all right, so when you come in on Friday, I insinuated that today was like Tuesday, and everybody jumped down my throat. And I'm like, wait, what? Today's not Tuesday? No, today's Thursday. What are you doing? And I'm like, sorry, it's been a week. It's been a week. I apologize. But
I feel like people with the pandemic have, like, we've all done that. Like, we kind of don't count the last 2 years in a way.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't really happen, did it? Nothing really happened.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part, because like a lot of good things did come out of the pandemic. Like, we started streaming more for the podcast, and that definitely ended up being a good thing. And you found, it sucks that you Harlow kind of stopped. I don't want to say disbanded, because that sounds like there's a riff or something and something bad happened, but you kind of decided to go
a hiatus.
A hiatus. There you go. But you also found you're starting to find your like solo voice and work on a solo project, which that's amazing. You've built a community on Twitch, and you just released a new single a month ago. So as this year is kind of really starting to ramp up, what's kind of going through your mind now that you've got that first single out in the world?
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to playing some festivals coming up and seeing some faces as well. I as much as I do love live streaming, seeing people's faces is, a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And that different energy as well. So yeah, I'm looking to get out there and perform. But also the tough thing is that even though venues and that are opening back up, it's still not what it used to be, especially financially, for musicians still. And I don't think it will be for, years, because everyone's hurting. But yeah, so my main focus is still just releasing music and getting out there when I can, and still streaming. I don't stream quite as full time as I used to.
Yeah.
With releasing music and things like that. There's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I still definitely do stream and every week, and love catching up with everybody. And it's a special community. Like, I know I keep saying that, but people who don't know Twitch do not understand.
Yeah.
And I'm always like preaching to other musicians to just get on and check it out. And yes, it's overwhelming. But once you get your head around it, it's pretty cool, because like even compared to Instagram, there's a photo, or YouTube, there's just an edited video. Live is so different, and there's nothing quite like that.
Yeah.
Getting to actually interact with somebody.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And I think the reason a lot of musicians haven't quite adapted to jumping on Twitch and playing virtually is, especially for musicians that are a bit more established, that have gone out, played big festivals. I was about to say big arenas. That's not 100% accurate, but like they've played festivals, have seen what a good crowd looks like. And then coming on Twitch, they're not necessarily going to get that same reaction because they've got to start over from the beginning, essentially. But
yeah,
because one thing that I've learned is not everybody is open to Twitch for whatever reason. Like Twitch is a special breed of people. Not saying it's a bad thing, but just like a lot of the people that used to watch us on Facebook. Oh, dang. Okay. People, I was pressing random buttons over here and it was blaring in my ear. That sucked. But people that used to come over, used to watch us on Facebook, won't come to Twitch because Facebook is where they're at. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
I definitely find that with my community on Facebook and Instagram, but at the same time, I think it's a different audience too. There's a lot of the younger generation that are on Twitch as well, so they're kind of different markets, and so they're different audience as well.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% get behind that. So
I do know what you mean about the starting again thing, though. Like no one knew who I was when I started streaming. I think that's kind of a good thing, because you slowly build up again, and it's kind of a challenge. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. And I think you're more open then to trying different things. And like I've done gaming streams and all sorts of things, and I'm very bad. I do love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done some fun stuff like that, and even collaborated with other musicians, and other streamers as well, which has been really cool to build a community. Yeah,
it's definitely fun. Like I definitely enjoy it, and I'm hoping to start doing these podcasts with streamers has been really cool and fun, but I'm working on a few things to do more in-person stuff, just because I think that would be a lot more fun, and the ability to add diversity to the stream, like bringing musicians in to play live music. Because unfortunately, the way my setup is right now, trying to do live performances through Zoom doesn't work. Like I've tried it 100 times. It doesn't work.
It's compressed too much. As soon as you start singing and playing the guitar, it just kills me. It's definitely been instances like that too, where it's like, oh, I'll just sing a song. No, definitely not.
And then I've had a few people
think I'm absolute rubbish if I do that.
Yep. I remember one of the first times I tried to attempt it, there was like a few situations where it was okay. It wasn't like the best, but you could hear the guitar, you could hear the singer, like whoever was singing, and it was fine. But 9 times out of 10, it's because they were running through an interface. But the second that they just tried to run it through like just their phone or whatever, that Zoom just EQ'd out whatever frequency it was. And 9 times out of 10, it was cutting out like a good portion of everything. It's bad. So needless to say, we don't do that anymore. But so that, I don't want to keep pushing it down, but so if I had to guess, I don't want to say it's your debut single as your solo act. Is that fair to say?
That's very correct.
Okay, very correct.
Yeah, definitely. It's my debut single as Briannah Grace.
Okay, because I was sitting here, I was like, I mean, you've released music before, but it's
weird.
Yeah. So your debut single as Briannah Grace. What's the story behind If I Had to Guess?
If I Had to Guess is a breakup song about losing someone. But it kind of started out as a song about a friend moving away because of COVID. And I realized, started writing it, that a lot of people can relate to that. Whether, you just fall out of contact with somebody because you can't leave the house, that a lot of lives have changed because of it. And I think it's very relatable.
Yeah, for sure. I do have to admit, I've listened to the song within the last 4 or so. I've been home from work now for 4 hours, and I've listened to the song 22 times. And that's not to mention the 3 days prior that I'd been streaming it to work and on my way back from work. So I just got to say the whole song is pretty much a vibe, and I'm digging it. So it's got a permanent place on my playlist right now. So
cheers, appreciate that.
It's a really good song. I don't like it's weird because I do so many podcasts. I never know what songs I'm going to because I'm realistic enough to know there's songs that are going to be good but just aren't my thing, and it's like, okay, I can talk about this, but it's not a song that I'm going to listen to more than once or twice. And then there's songs that I like, and then there's songs that I love. And so it's just interesting. Whenever I get ready to prep for a new podcast, I'm always excited to see, okay, is this song going to be something that I can tolerate, or love? So
I'm sure radio presenters as well feel the same. Yeah, that's so funny you say that. Is even sometimes, other musicians on the scene, you'll support them, but you don't necessarily love their music. Mm-hmm. And it's something though, for me, I listen to all genres of music, mm-hmm. even though you go through your waves of having your favorites and things like that. But I think for me personally though, music is music, and listening to a song, I can hear a really crunchy guitar and a solo and think, oh, that is so cool. Yeah. Or I can hear those vocals and just we're like, oh my gosh, those pipes are amazing and things like that. So I can definitely take away different aspects from music.
All right. It's kind of funny because the first time I had this realization was Jeff Cabana, my sound engineer, he has a band. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, by proxy, I don't have to like the band, but I like everybody in the band. And the first album that they released, he asked me, he's like, dude, so what'd you think of the music? Do you like it? And I was like, I mean, it's okay. It's like, it's not my thing. I'm not a huge fan of it. And I think he kind of took offense to that. And he's like, he doesn't bring it up every time, but he understands. It's like, I'm not feeling it right now. And then back in October, I went to a show of theirs in an environment. It was like a club setting. There was 200 people there. It was amazing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go, because I'd never really heard him play live in an environment like that. I went and I just went in the middle of the crowd, and it all started to make sense. It was like, okay, so I just have to listen to you live. I'm not going to listen to your album. I've already determined that, but live, I'm all about it. So, yeah, I still think he's offended, but he'll get over it. So,
well, that's what friends do?
Yeah.
You love him and hate him sometimes.
I could sit there and lie to him and be like, yeah, I love it. And then I don't, but I think that's what a real friend is. You tell them the truth. So that's it. Yeah. But so we talked a little bit about now that the single's out, we talked a little bit about the single, but now that it's out, are you working on a music video for it? Is that something that's ever crossed your mind, or where are you kind of at now?
Yeah, I've actually filmed a music video months ago. Okay. But due to situations beyond my control, it's been pushed back. It'll hopefully be released soon. Fingers crossed. I'm very excited. We filmed it on the Gold Coast.
Oh, nice.
Got some fun scenes in it as well.
Nice.
yeah, I'm actually really excited for it. I've got some fun outfits too. I love playing around with fashion. I'm very creative and you know, I get bored easily, so I like to express that.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, as you were saying, like, I actually filmed a music video. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't see it. I swear I checked your YouTube channel.
Mini heart attack.
I was like, I swear I've checked everything. Where is this thing? And because in my head, like, because I kind of know how some Twitch streamers do, like they'll have two YouTube channels. They'll have one for like whatever their music is, and then they'll have one for their VODs. And it's like, wait, maybe did I check only the VOD YouTube channel, or did I do something wrong? And that, okay, and then you was like, but it hasn't been released yet. I'm like, okay, cool. So it's one of those things where it's like 5,000 things come rushing through your mind in the matter of 2 seconds, and it's like, I swear I did it. So
the worst thing is when something like that happens and you actually do your research and you really tried.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's, you know, and then
like, I swear I checked.
Well, I mean, that's how it used to be in school. And then, because like I have PTSD from school where it's, I swear I studied, and then I get in for a test or whatever, and I just completely lose it. And it's like, oh, dang it. But, you know, it is what it is. So
I guess that's the same thing with performing though. Like, I've met a lot of musos that like a lot of performances you see on stage are rehearsed because for that same reason, like you get up on stage and you're not just focusing on what you're singing about, you're focusing on talking to the audience, making sure you can hear yourself in the fallback and 20 million other things. Yeah, it's definitely real.
Gotcha. One thing that I like to talk to musicians about is why they choose the certain songs that they do to like release. So why did you choose If I Had to Guess as your debut single, as your solo project?
Because it's a fun song. And it's
that it is.
When I wrote it originally, it actually sounded quite different. Started writing it with a guy named Nolan Wynn, and love writing with him, and yeah, but it sounded quite different. And then like a month or so, maybe even a couple of months later, I came back to it, and just with my guitar, I just changed melodic parts and we added a bridge, and at the end, I was like, wow, I have to record this. And then, yeah, recording it just made it so lively and fun that I knew pretty instantly that I wanted that as my first single, because it's a vibe.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what I prefer to play on stage. I like to make people dance or just feel happy. Even singing a sad song, I still want it to be pretty lively. I love conveying that when I perform, and that's what I enjoy releasing as a result.
Yeah.
We all have our sad songs, don't get me wrong, but as a majority of my music, I definitely prefer that.
For sure. Now, this next question might be a little hard to answer given that we were in a pandemic for 2 years prior.
Okay.
But how much do you usually road test your music before you release it? Like how often will you play it out? Or are you usually more of just feeling it for yourself and then releasing it before you play it out live at shows and whatnot?
I've never released a song that I haven't played live before, personally.
Gotcha.
I think the audience feedback is the best kind of feedback. Even so, like releasing music is so strange. You can think one song is going to do so well and then another one takes off and you're like, what? Why?
Right.
Why? But I love this song more.
Yeah.
So you can't really fully expect everything either. I think audience feedback is great too, because you actually know what a preference is, but also just what that song means to somebody else will mean something different from what you write it as too.
Yeah. And then it also kind of gives you a feeling of what the natural flow of the song is, and like the natural tempo. That's one thing that I've kind of picked up on from a lot of musicians is they have this idea for a song, they write it, they arrange it, they put it together, and then they go out and play it with the mind of, okay, this is an up-tempo number. And then as they play it, the crowd starts to respond to it in a different way that makes them naturally mature the music. So it's like, okay, this isn't as up-tempo as I thought. And then they just kind of let it breathe and let it be what it's going to be. So that is definitely one of the positive sides of playing it out, letting the song naturally mature with the audience and what the audience feels it should be, instead of like, oh, nope, this is what I think it is. This is what it's going to be.
But also, I think the more you play it, the more the song develops itself. I know even with playing, if I had to guess, the more that I've played it, the more it's honed into what I've wanted long term from the song. And it does change. And even live, the vibe is different. You might have a like a 5-minute guitar solo as well, and that just sends it home, and then that turns into your closing song, and it's a lot more punchy than you thought when you wrote it.
Yeah, it is. I'm starting to realize we're saying vibe a lot during this podcast, so we should probably start a vibe counter somewhere. I just picked up on that. I was like, oh, we're saying that word a lot, but it is what it is.
You started it.
I started it. I'm sorry. So if I had to guess, debut single for your solo project out now, what's kind of the process moving forward? You mentioned the music video hopefully will be out at some point, as long as things beyond your control get corrected. Are you working towards another single? Are you ultimately working towards an album? Like, what's kind of the thought process moving forward?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm just looking forward to releasing singles and an EP following that. But I think with the way the world is, there's no set plan. I think like we all used to have. Like even trying to release this song last year, we had venues for a release party and things like that. And every time something was, you just thought would be set in stone, that stuff got COVID and it was shut down, and it was like, okay. So I think nowadays I'm very used to just going with the flow and taking those opportunities when I can. Like even the Gimpy Mustard this year, I was supposed to play last year and it was cancelled. And although it really was a bit of a downer at the time, because you really look forward to those fun times. But I think now that things are opening back up again, people are really grateful for live music and really appreciate it. And I know when I performed, they've just said, oh, it's so good to be out again.
Yeah.
And they also didn't realize how much they looked forward to music in their life and how happy it made them. So there's this little bit of a silver lining there, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, getting out and playing is definitely on the cards, but also just going with the flow, because you have to these days.
Yeah, for sure. And especially over the last year and a half, 2 years, I know Australia's had several different iterations of lockdowns and different stuff compared to here in the States, where it's not been as strongly enforced.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. Like, because, obviously in the beginning, it was pretty heavily enforced, but then after the first couple of months, it was just kind of like, we can only control it so much. At least.
Yeah. And I think though at the start though, I mean, we were, as you said, quite different in that sense, but I don't think anyone expected it to go on as long. And so I think that's probably why as well.
That is a fact. That is very much a fact. I 100% agree. But just real quick before we kind of continue on with the conversation here, I want to thank everybody that's been hanging out with us and been active in the chat. I really appreciate it. All our new friends, Lyrical, thank you for the follow. Infinite, thank you for the follow. Just everybody that's followed us all night. It's been amazing, and I really appreciate your support. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask Briannah, I'll do my best to kind of field the questions as they come in, and just kind of keep the conversation rolling. But once again, thank you, everybody. we really appreciate the support and our ever-growing journey to make Twitch a permanent staple in what we do here at Live and Amplified. So once again, thank you, everybody. So outside of music, obviously music's very much an important part of your life, but what do you do when you kind of need to escape, decompress, take a break?
It's strange how music is my job, but it's also my passion. But throughout the pandemic, I've kind of realized that I needed other outlets as well. I do love drawing and photography. I've also just been getting into random things, just like ice skating and rock climbing, I think, to just get out a bit more because being a bit cooped up for a long time. I just think I've been trying a lot of things lately to try and have more hobbies. I think I realized I needed them too, because as much as I love music, it's such an emotional job as well. I think I realized I needed some other outlets.
That's something that I found out during the pandemic. It was like, it was work, it was Live and Amplified, and then that was my life. And I was like, wait, I need to find more stuff to do, like just something to break it up. And
that's it. I'm very much a busybody and a bit of a workaholic, I guess, as they say. So I don't like being bored.
I'm going to take a shot in the dark here, but how much Among Us do you play? I just see the neon
not as
light
much
in the
as I would like. Oh, you did? Yeah.
I see the neon light. I'm like, I'm going to take a shot in the dark here, but
I haven't played in a hot minute actually, because everyone, you've got to play with a lot of people and someone's always not free, so it's a bit hard at the moment. But I do love it. It's one of those games though, if you've ever played, that you have like a time limit where after a while of constantly lying through your teeth and like sweating bullets for hours, you're like, okay, I'm done. I want to like watch a movie now. Too much stress.
Right. I got into it pretty hardcore for a minute, but then I was always playing by myself and I just go into like a random group or whatever. And then there started to become this thing where like a group of 3 people would come in and just start systematically voting people out. Like they'd already have 3 guaranteed votes, and then they'd start systematically voting people out. And it's like, all right, this isn't fun anymore. Like I'm not playing. So I gave it up about 6 months ago.
Oh, wow. I've never experienced anything like that because I've never done that type of play. I've always just done it with mates, or even sometimes viewers will hop in, which is quite fun when you get to hear someone's voice after just seeing their name in chat for ages. It's always quite a shock. You're like, wow, that's what you sound like, which is really cool. But yeah, so I've been doing that, which is fun to stream. I haven't done it in a hot minute, but I've actually been getting into gaming. When I say getting into, I do mean as a hobby, not professionally. During COVID, that's something that I've really loved doing.
What, like,
just thought of it.
Like doing PC gaming, or are you playing on console?
I do a little bit of PC gaming, but I actually much prefer console because I can't work and play. But when I'm playing on my computer, I'm like answering emails, and it's not really quite the relaxing situation it planned out to be.
I got
so you. I like it. I like playing on the Xbox instead.
Okay.
To actually get a break. Yeah.
What kind of games are you playing? RPGs, first person shooters?
Yeah, at the moment I'm like actually pretty chill. I'm playing a lot of The Witcher.
Okay.
I just started Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well last week. Nice. So I've got some stuff going, and it's good fun.
Awesome.
I was randomly hooked onto Animal Crossing during COVID. I think that daily routine of getting out and feeding my animals was really nice.
Nice. That's funny. That's like right before pandemic. So I haven't played like any of the new console games in a really long time because I had a PlayStation 3 for a good minute. And then I got myself into a financial situation where I needed money. So I sold my PlayStation.
Oh my goodness.
Because that like $200 was going to be like everything that I needed for that week. And so then I was like, okay, I didn't have internet, or I didn't have good internet. I shouldn't say I didn't have internet. I didn't have good internet, so I couldn't play online or anything.
What's your version of good internet? I have to ask, from Australia.
Put it this way, I would stream music and it would buffer. Just
Yeah,
like
we get that here.
Yeah. It was it wasn't good, put it that way. So I sold it, and then I just kind of got out of gaming for a minute, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get back into gaming. And I was gonna go buy a PS4, but everybody bought a PS4 and there wasn't any left because the supply chain was shut down.
It's still insane, honestly.
Yeah. And then I was like, you know what?
Years
Fine.
later.
I'll wait till the PS5 comes out. And then the PS5 came out and I still haven't seen one. I don't know anybody that has a PS5. So
it's rare. And also just like, not only is it rare to get one, but you've got to put your name on the waiting list, and it's a whole ordeal. It's quite funny because, we all thought, be a few months, and they'll be available. And even Xbox is the same thing. It's so frustrating. Yep. So those who have them are very lucky.
Yep. And so right now I just have my PlayStation 2. I'm playing the original Call of Duty, and I am happy.
Yes.
The original Call of Duty, and what's the other game? ATV versus Off-Road Fury, or some ATV Off-Road Fury. Yep, that's what I'm playing. So that's it. So it's
and Among Us.
And Among Us. I play it on my phone, which probably isn't the smartest.
I haven't done that. I've always just played it on PC with Discord.
Yeah, maybe I should start.
Easier to mute yourself. Like that's the thing with Among Us that I find stressful half the time, because I stream it as well, is like muting myself in the chat. So when I'm outing myself as the killer, I'm not doing it to everybody. Like I'll be like explaining where I'm going and stuff, and I'll be like, oh shit, I'm not muted on there. What? And then I'll be like, wait. And then I'm trying to tell them why I was going that way.
That's funny.
Oh, you've got to have like three sets of eyes.
Yeah.
It's good though.
So Among Us, can you play it on? I never streamed video games on Twitch. So where do you play Among Us? Is it on does it have its own website, or how does that work? Sorry, I'm kind of a novice when it comes to Among Us on the computer. App. Oh, it's an app? Okay.
Yeah, just an app. Yep. You just buy it as a game. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But now I think it's available on Game Pass and everything. So
okay, I will.
It's a free platform game now, I believe. That's Tuesday.
Okay, I will have to check it out because I played it on my phone. It was fun, but then, like I said, systematically getting voted out. So, yeah, it was. I'm gonna get back into it. I think I need something other than podcasting to do. So.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Add a different stress to your life of lying.
Right. Yep. That's exactly what I need. More stress. But I don't want to keep you too much longer here. We're going to play a fun little game. Since we're talking about video games and all that fun stuff, we're going to play a fun little game.
Okay.
It's called Rapid Fire Randomness. And basically what the gist of the game is, I have a random question generator and I'm going to fire off about 10 questions at you, and you're just going to answer them as quickly as you can.
Okay. Hit me.
All right. Would you rather have free passes to all the amusement parks or all the concerts?
Concerts.
Do you prefer Reese's or Snickers?
Reese's.
Would you consider yourself someone who has a price?
Has a price? What do you mean?
Like somebody can buy your opinion. Like if they offer you $10 million to say you love Santa Claus. Does that make sense?
I think if it was something silly, like a sponsorship, maybe, but
Okay.
if it was something like morally, no.
Okay. Gotcha. What's the worst part about working from home?
Not getting to see people's face, like interact face to face.
What is your favorite Christmas tradition?
Walking around the Christmas tree, singing carols with my family.
If you had $100,000, how would you give it away?
How would I give it away?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you mean to what charity?
Just give it away. Like, not spend it, but give it away.
I would give it towards health research.
Okay. What would you choose to do if you had to focus on only one thing for the next 3 years?
One thing would definitely be music.
Who is your celebrity crush?
Celebrity crush. Oh, there's a few. I must say, like, Jason Momoa. Like, there's a list. There's a list.
So, and we're gonna just stop at Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. What is your favorite and least favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show. One of mine recently would have to be The Good Place.
Okay.
Or Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been really loving a good laugh recently with comedy shows. My least favorite. Oh, I don't know. I don't really watch much TV, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. We could pass. You answered the first part, and then to end the fun game of rapid fire randomness. What is a movie that is universally loved but you cannot stand?
Universally loved. Oh, I feel like they will just leave my brain. Maybe that I hate. Far out. I don't know. Can we list some movies?
Well, the example for mine is Titanic. I cannot stand that movie.
Yeah?
It is the most horrific, god awful movie in existence.
Let me quickly.
It's like
I don't even know. Oh my gosh. I feel like that's one of
Anybody
those
in chat?
questions that like I feel like that's one of those questions though that later on I'm just
Yeah.
gonna like be like, duh. Okay.
Or if you would like to swap it out with a different question, I have.
Yeah, can we?
Okay.
I
fair
feel
enough.
like I will answer this like tonight when I'm like trying to sleep. I'm like, I got it.
It's all good. What is something that is needlessly too difficult?
Needlessly too difficult. Trying to sleep. Trying to get to sleep.
Okay.
For me
fair enough.
anyway.
You might want to get that looked at, but I understand. Way too much.
I'm always trying to like think of songs when I'm trying to sleep for some reason, like song ideas and things like that.
Very, very true. Very true. But that was rapid fire randomness. Hopefully it wasn't too crazy. So
Oh, there we go. Jaws.
Jaws.
Like that.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, no thanks.
So
I'm scared of being in the open ocean, let alone sharks. We live in Australia. Like,
yeah,
it's an actual problem.
that's fair. Very fair. I 100% understand and I get it. So, but yeah, that was rapid fire randomness. You went in with the extra bonus question of answering the question that we skipped. So,
Sorry.
but, it's all good. So now that 2022 is like well underway, what's kind of the plans for the rest of the year? What do you kind of see yourself doing? I know you'd mentioned the goal is performing more, but what do you hope to accomplish for the rest of 2022?
Definitely solidify my fan base a bit more and grow that. But also also just write more. And I mean, I can't believe it. As you said earlier, we're halfway through the year. It's just insane. Yeah, definitely write more and play more. Be my biggest goals, and just connect with people.
Gotcha.
Now that we can a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of like songwriting and stuff, where are you kind of at creatively right now? Are you actively writing, or are you kind of on a break?
I kind of, even when I'm on more of a break, I still have a lot of voice memos that I still collect. But yeah, I'd say it kind of never stops. It's like whether I choose to sit down and write out the song or not.
Gotcha.
Personally, my brain never stops in that sense.
Gotcha. How many voice memos do you currently have on your phone? Just a rough estimate. It doesn't have to be exact.
We go 400.
Okay. That's just not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No, I actually actively go through them and delete the awful ones.
Fair enough.
I have to, otherwise it gets insane. Like I started with 1,200 last time I did a call.
Oh no, that's crazy.
And same with my notes. I have notes on my phone where I constantly like write sayings or quotes and things like that. And I actively every month or so just go through and have to call a bunch.
Gotcha. Do you ever find yourself having to like just write a song to get something out of your head, or do you find that like once you get it down, whether it's on a voice memo or in your notes section, it's kind of out of your head?
I think it depends, to be honest. Like if you're really feeling that strongly, then sometimes until you write it, you just keep hearing that same thing over and over. But also I think it depends if you start with maybe more of a hook of a song, or if it's like sometimes even I'll be laying in bed and I'll just hear some cool guitar parts that I really want in a song, but I don't know what song yet. And I'll just like record me humming it.
Gotcha.
It's very random. Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. And then
everyone's different.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely something that I'm learning. Like obviously every podcast I learn something different, like a different technique on how people write or a different like way people prefer to write. And it's always interesting to kind of hear these different stories and approaches to music writing. So
yeah, definitely. Even talking to other musos, everyone's so different.
Absolutely. So you're kind of always actively and not actively writing, but you're always kind of keeping track of your creative ideas. How many songs do you have right now that just aren't recorded, that are just kind of like songs that are being played live?
How many? Like I'd say probably in the set that I love is a good 8 that I like consider good enough, I reckon.
Okay. So those are the 8 that are songs that you would consider recording if you felt it was right.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm probably more now that I think about it, but like at the same token, what I release is also quite specific. Like if I play some of my sad songs live, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to record them either. Because as I said, I tend to record more upbeat stuff because I like to. Yeah. For sure. And I also record like my single has drums and synth and all sorts of amazing sounds on it, but I don't play that live. So at the same token, songs live, if I'm singing it by myself, sound so different than they do recorded.
Gotcha. Infinite just asked, will you be doing a voice memos stream soon?
Like showing all my voice memos
that are playing? I don't know.
I mean, I could play like a voice memo maybe of as I was writing my single. Like maybe I could play a snippet of what it sounded like when I first started writing it. But I couldn't play all of them because some of them are really bad, because I'm like, it's the middle of the night and I'm just like humming this saying or whatever.
How many times have you woken up in the morning to a new voice memo that you didn't know you recorded?
Oh, all the time. When when I sit down to write songs, I'm like, I don't even remember this. I don't remember half of these.
Nice.
Like, I'm one of those people that if you have a conversation to me when I'm half asleep, I have no recollection.
Nice.
Like, my brain is checked out.
That when you're sleeping, that's kind of the point. Your brain's supposed to be checked out. So,
like, you're not sleeping. You're kind of halfway there, right?
yeah, very fair. Very fair. And the one thing that's really cool on Twitch is a lot of the cover songs seem to be the more, I don't want to say more popular, but it seems to be something that people enjoy. What's your favorite cover song to perform when you're streaming on Twitch?
Probably Levitating by Dua Lipa, because it's really fun. And I feel like not too many people cover that song too. But I do get my originals requested a lot by the community, which is really special.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say there's at least a 50-50.
That's good.
At least.
Like it's definitely good. And I love it when musicians do like their original streams. But if they have like a really unique take on a cover song, I feel like that's not just as good as an original song, but it shows their original creativity to a song that already exists. So
yeah, like if I get rated by a new community, which is incredible, I tend to get a lot more cover requests because they don't know my originals.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. Well, speaking of raid, I think it's time for us to start wrapping up the podcast. It's been an absolute blast chatting with you. For anybody out there that's just discovering you for the first time or want to check out your music or check out your stream or just kind of check out your musical journey in general, where's the best place for people to find you?
I'm on all the things.
All the things.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Apple Music, yeah, Spotify. I have a TikTok, but I'm not very active on it yet. It's overwhelming. I feel like Twitch has been my new thing.
TikTok is very overwhelming. I'm trying my best, but I just don't have the personality. I've come to terms with that.
So. Really? No, I'll sit and watch it in bed, but the idea of filming it and doing all that is another thing to do. But there's so much fun. I really want to get onto it.
Yeah. It's an interesting platform, and I definitely have lost a lot of hours in my day scrolling through TikTok, but as far as like recording content for it, it's like I'm just not there yet. I'm sorry. Maybe one day. So
yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
In time.
And then social media, you're on Instagram, Facebook, all the fun stuff. And
yeah, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube Music is a thing too that I'm on.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I tend to forget about YouTube Music, but it's there. So
yeah, same.
But as I ready this raid, I think we're going to raid Kamari Sky, who's a new musician that I found over the last couple of months, and she's really exciting and it's got some really cool music that she does. What's one piece of advice that you have out there for all the young musicians?
To not be too hard on yourself, and especially if you're writing your own music, not everybody's going to like your flavor, and that doesn't mean that nobody will, because it's just individual taste, and try to not take that feedback personally. Awesome.
Very true words. I really appreciate you giving us your time to sit down and chat. When you messaged me back, what was that, about a week or two ago, to say, yes, I want to be on the podcast, I was really excited because I've been like I'd mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I don't remember how I found you, but I just know you've been on my Facebook for a good month or two at this point. And I'm just like, I cannot remember how I stumbled across you, but the best guess I have is mutual friends. So, but I've been an absolute blast chatting with you. Anytime you want to come back on, you're more than welcome. New single, big show, whatever it is, feel free to reach out. Love to have you back on. Thank you, everybody that's joined our new family. I haven't given, I think the tradition is every YouTube stream, or not YouTube, Twitch, sorry, my bad. Every Twitch streamer has like a name for their community, and I'm not that cool. I don't have a name for us, but we'll get it eventually. I just want to thank everybody for joining us. and we will see you all on Sunday afternoon, I think is our next stream. But once again, thank you so much, and we will check you guys later.